These are, as a living history interpreter here at Desoto National Memorial, we have, of course, our relics table here. These are some of the, one side of the table here is set for European relics, while the other side is more Native American. Today I'll select a couple of our more popular European relics that a lot of folks like to come, touch, pick up, and ask us about. Probably the most popular item of inquiry is this item here, the astrolabe. Of course, people think come to us, they think it's some type of ancient clock or sundial or compass, but really it blows their mind when we tell them that this is the navigational device that many of the European explorers, and even before then, would map out and use to find their way across the globe. Using a stereoscopic vision of the night sky, they would center the top or spin the top platter to gain orientation recognition of the North Star off of several important constellations, where they would receive numbers. On the inside are geospatial reference points, and then on the back also is a sighting tube that they could use to sight the sun off the horizon. They would get the data and numbers off of this, and through using mathematical equations and charts, they could find their way or get their degree of latitude on a map, which would tell them which way or where they were, north or south of the visible or the equator. After that, one of the other more popular items, of course, are the gaming items here. Today we have out two different sets of cards. A lot of people didn't really. One of the unique histories that we do talk about here is the evolution of games, because on a 4-year, 4,000-mile expedition, you're going to have soldiers are going to bring along what they know or to pass the time. This deck over here is what is called a Spanish military or Mameluke deck. This came to Spain and Italy in and around the 700s to 800s, usually from the north coast of Africa. The reason it's called a military deck is that the major face cards are all military members: a king, a knight, and a knave. Also, your major, your four suits of cards, you have staves, swords, coins, and cups. Of course, it's also missing, as far as like with the French Royal deck, it doesn't have the queen, and it only goes up to 12 cards, where a traditional Royal deck goes to 13. The French Royal deck was made in and around the 16th century because the French and the Germans and the English even did not want to use a deck that might be associated with Islam like the military deck is. So they would create their own deck, the Royal deck, which actually has the four suits that we know of today: black and red, clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds, as well as they added in the queen to show a royal family. And of course, in the center is also another very popular game that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt and beyond, is dice. Soldiers always play games of chance and risk with dice. Other items here on the touch table that are very popular to ask. A lot of people ask about what are the roles that we have of these bells. Bells was an important trade item from the Spanish to the natives. Desoto would use these bells to trade for information, for food, for guides. Also, Spanish caballeros or horse soldiers would tie bells to the bridles and tails of their horses so that they would make noise as they go through the brush to scare out prey or even people. And at night, if somebody would try to sneak into their camp, if the horse bridles or even their tails had bells on it, the horses moved excessively, they would jingle and alert them to some possibility of somebody trying to move in or raid their camp. And finally, the other big item here is the arquebus, which we have on display here for folks to pick up. This is our musket arquebus. This is a heavy, about 15 to 16 pound weapon. It is a little bit later version of the arquebuses that were used at this time. This would have been used in and about the time of about the 1600s. This version, being heavy, would use in concert a unipod that would mount to the front of the front of the gun so that they would be able to stabilize it. It has a very large bore, but it's black powder, using priming powder and charging powder down the barrel to shoot.